Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F122 Driver Career with Red Bull Porsche, episode number 54 today for the Brazilian Grand Prix of Season 3, round number 16, the final race of the season. If you missed the previous episode at Mexico, I recommend you go and check that out before watching this one, especially at the end of that one. I became, spoiler alert, a one-time world champion. Finally beating Leclerc, who's won the previous one so far in this career mode. R&D wise, we are going to be rushing a minor brakes upgrade. We rushed one in the previous episode at Mexico, and I think we can get this one done, to be honest. Well, unfortunately, no. You know, I was hoping we could get 2 rushed upgrades on the car. Sadly not, so that will have to wait until our aero thing though did produce us more morale. It's going to be a wet qualifying though for qualifying. Remember, it's a sprint round at Brazil, but which will be sunny on the Saturday and of course the Sunday. And that brings us to the final R&D of the year, the season, excuse me, where we've got nobody bringing any upgrades from Mexico City and Brazil. So basically Ferrari, technically speaking, are the fastest team, but they've been pretty dire all season. Carlos Sainz with only 2 race wins there, nowhere near the podium at all since those race wins for Sainz. So, you know, we've got the advantage. Can we turn that into a win? We'll have to wait and see. But obviously it's raining, but it's not raining that much. And there's good news, because by the end of the session, it's dry enough for slick tyres. Yes, welcome to F122, ladies and gentlemen. There isn't DRS. Shock surprise, a bit of realism there by the FIA. Slow to reactivate DRS, but nevertheless, we're going to go for qualifying now. But we seem to have enough grip. We've gained pretty much 4 tenths on the inters. A couple of people are still out there on inters, so I think they are going to be at the back. We're half a second faster than Norris as well, but I don't know if he's on inters or slicks or not. We'll have to wait and see about him. We're now a second up as we go through into the middle sector. This is where we're going to get the most time. Magnussen almost went faster, hasn't had a pole so far in this career mode, unlike in real life. Leclerc though has gone faster than him though, but obviously there's going to be lots more time. There goes Norris, 1:11.0. Can we get into the 1:10s? We're 2.5 seconds up on our previous best time. The time we get to the end of the middle sector, that's almost 3 tenths. We're getting a nice little tow from Daniel Ricciardo, I think, in the other McLaren, and an Alfa Romeo. It's 3.5 tenths up now as we climb the hill out the final corner. And this is just a straight line to think. Ricciardo goes fastest, and I think it's a front row alongside Ricciardo. Well, we haven't seen much of Daniel. Well, it is second place, and it is Daniel Ricciardo on the front row, a 10th. I think, you know, we did make a slight mistake on that lap actually, which could have cost us a second pole position this season. Leclerc P6, not that it really matters. Hamilton, Verstappen, Gasly, Tsunoda, Schwartzman, what are you doing? All 5 of those will be at the back for the sprint, because they couldn't qualify, only qualified on the inters. They've been out qualified by Latifi in the Haas. So yes, it's very surprising. We'll be in a McLaren sandwich for the sprint, so we'll see what we can do from second to place. It's time for the sprint.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Running you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Daniel Ricciardo has a clear view ahead of him from pole position, and Phoenix completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Vettel, Carlos Sainz and Leclerc, Ocon, Russell, Albon and Guan Yu Zhou, Bottas, Magnussen, Lance Stroll and Mick Schumacher, Latifi, Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly, Tsunoda and Robert Schwartzman. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Okay, we've already won the championship, so just relax and go and enjoy this race. You deserve it.
Thanks, Mark. I should point out it's only a sprint. 6 laps, of course, so soft tyres and no need to go on the mediums. 5 lights then for the final sprint of the season at Sao Paulo, Brazil. And away we go. And as usual, for me, it's a mediocre start. Norris is going to try and go around the outside. Vettel dives it down on the inside, but we're going to cut through both of them and retain P2. Contact with Norris there. We'll get a replay now on board with them and see what exactly contact. So Norris tries to go right around the outside, and there's a bit of contact as he tried to turn in. We pretty much closed the door on him there, but we had Vettel up our inside as well, who made a huge dive bomb. We could have just left it there. Tried to not obviously give Vettel those, but Vettel does get ahead of Norris as well. As we're watching our teammate Charles Leclerc, he's going to go past. I think that's one of the Williams. I think it's Sonoda. No, it's Albon actually. And they've both got very similar numbers. Verstappen now is also trying to make up spaces. He's trying to go up with Bottas, who's trying to get past Latifi. Verstappen's gone off. He's gone wide, and that's going to drop Verstappen to the back of the grid for tomorrow's race. Bad news for Verstappen. Leclerc at least will be able to recover, but Ricciardo was untouchable today. I had no pace in the sprint. I was unable to spring away from Vettel or Norris, really, and that is maybe a sign of things to come for season 4. Bearing in mind we've got a regulation change. Vettel having a very good afternoon, gets 3rd place for his troubles. So yes, Ricciardo, he's finally won something for McLaren. I mean, apart from Italy, you know, it's the first time since Italy last year. I mean, obviously in real life. Leclerc coming through for a point. Not that it really matters at this point, because obviously we have won both championships. So Leclerc comes through to 8th. He actually started 6th, but fell down at the start. But yes, so our gap's 40 points. Norris has a 4-point lead over Leclerc now in 2nd place. Verstappen, oh dear.
Formula One returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us all to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. We're racing then at Interlagos, a historic 2.7-mile circuit and one of the few anti-clockwise tracks on the calendar. 15 corners in total, 9 to the left and 6 to the right, with a technical middle section opening up to a flat-out Sector 3 that gives us our best passing opportunity down into Turn 1. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, and Phoenix completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and Russell, Albon, Joe, Magnussen, and Lewis Hamilton. Bottas, Vettel, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Pierre Gasly and Stroll. Verstappen, Leclerc, they've taken a grid penalty. Robert Schwartzman and Yuki Tsunoda. Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you here with us today. But I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, this is the final race of the season. Just get out there and enjoy it.
Thanks, Mark. Although we are starting once again from 2nd place on the grid, where we were in the sprint. We would have liked to have pole position for the sprint, but never mind. Race strategy, the team decided to throw a little bit of Ferrari strategy, wanted me to come in a lap early. So, yes, soft to mediums it is. For 5 lights then, for the final race of the season, and away we go. And it's a good start. Ricciardo moves across to cover me. We're going to have people come down the inside. This time it's a Ferrari that goes down the inside. Again, there's contact with Ricciardo, and it's the other Ferrari now of Sainz. And the FIA have said we've made contact with Norris again. So Sainz hit the wall on the left-hand side, which puts it into me, and then we just sort of took the better line through there. He's on board with Ricciardo at the race start. He just went way too deep and then tried to come back, and then we just were having none of that. I'm on board with Lando, coming round the outside. Oh, it was a rear lock-up for Ricciardo. Lando then got boxed in, but he did get back in front of Russell. And now, up to turn 4, it gets worse for Ricciardo, who's now going to fall behind his teammate and Russell. So that's a sad end for Ricciardo. Meanwhile, a long way behind, we're watching the two Haas cars of Schumacher and Latifi, not doing that great. Oh! What a stupid crash that is for Schumacher. Just didn't see where I was thinking it's Schwartzman, didn't see where he was. He's brought out the virtual safety car, which is the first sort of any safety car we've had for ages, basically. But, nevertheless, surprised it wasn't a full safety car there, but that's the F1 game for you. So we're watching our teammate Leclerc obviously recovering from that penalty, which we wouldn't have known. We would have been able to come easily to Brazil, not knowing that we didn't know that he had that penalty coming for this race. Thankfully, we did win the championship a race early. So we're watching, because of course the penalties, we've got Albon and Zhou are 7th and 8th right now in this race. So the lot of us at the front are running away. Sainz though has very good pace. He set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on those set of slots. He's going to carry on as Norris for another lap. It'll be myself, Russell, and I presume Ricciardo. It is Ricciardo, yeah, coming in for our first stops, as is somebody else behind Ricciardo, who's just fallen back really after that thing. I think that lock-up sadly ruined his tyres, and he had no pace in the first half. 2.3 second stop, that's very good. Last pit stop of the season then. And the following lap, we're coming down the pit straight. There is Sainz and Norris. Sainz is on the hard tyres though, so we are going to get in front of them, just, mind you, with the overcut, but the undercut has worked better out for us. But now, can we push on from Sainz? Because he's taken the Ferrari strategy of pitting on hard, so we'll have to wait and see about that. Zhou has got in front of Albon, but both of them have been jumped by Magnussen in the AlphaTauri, so that's unfortunate for him. And on lap 11, on to 12, we've set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and we're just going to run away from Sainz. Those hards, not the tyre. They're like two tangerines, not really tyres there. And Lando Norris is all over the back of Sainz. Norris being squeezed to the grass by his forward teammate there, and Sainz is able to keep the position there. And that Zhou going slowly, it is! Heartbreak again for Alfa Romeo this season. That's not the first time. Schwartzman was in the points. I can't remember which Grand Prix it was, but that's such a shame for Alfa Romeo, and they are going to finish bottom of the championship then. As we're watching Hamilton having a go at Albon. Now Albon's lost his playmate in Zhou. It does mean that Albon is pretty much a sitting duck for these faster cars. Hamilton, Leclerc, Vettel, and as well, Leclerc's going to try and go on the outside. Can't quite do that. Leclerc tries to switch into the center S's as we fast forward then down to turn 4, and there we go. Leclerc has through DRS and is up another position, and then Albon gets dumped out the points then by Sebastian Vettel, and Verstappen having a look as well. So that's sad news for both Albon and Zhou, did so well to be able to get in the points in the first place. Jumping to the last lap of the Grand Prix, Lando Norris, can he make this move stick right round the outside? Will turn the inside for the next corner into the middle sector, should have the better grip on the mediums, and Lando is finally passed, but his race has been ruined because that was on the final lap. And, you know, we've just strolled out in front. This has been far too easy in the second half of the race. You know, the first half of the race, the soft tyres, we didn't have the pace over Sainz and Norris. But Sainz pitting onto that woeful hard tyre has meant we allowed to stretch our legs and come comfortably win our 6th Grand Prix of the season, and to complete a season of pure and utter dominance from Red Bull and myself in the championship. Leclerc does get driver of the day after his lowly start, but in this car,
They've taken the win here as we wrap up another fantastic Formula One season. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
I'm very happy with that. You know, it's a perfect way to round off the season at one of the sport's most iconic tracks, Interlagos, as well. So I'm very happy with what I've achieved this season. I'm sure, you know, Porsche, they've got a little bit more to come from them. You know, we had that, you know, when I first came in the season at Bahrain, we had that mechanical DNF in the first race. I thought, oh no, is this going to be breaking down? Are we going to have like 4 DNFs in 5 races like Arava has? But we haven't. We've got lucky in that respect. We've dominated this season in the end, and have come through for a first World Championship and 6 Grand Prix victories. Ricciardo will be disappointed. P5 for him, didn't really have the pace in the end after that first stint. The Leclerc P9, you know, I mean, Alfa Romeo will be gutted for them, because, you know, it's been a couple of times where reliability has let them down, where they've been in the points. So in the end, it's actually quite comfortable. I don't think I've got this many points in any career mode, 283. Lando Norris is 235 in the end. He comfortably beats Leclerc for 2nd place. So, yes, almost 500 points for Red Bull in a 16 race season. That is just utter dominance, really. And there we go. Obviously, we've won another rivalry with Hamilton, even though technically we've got 1 race left. Because it's the end of the season, we have won that rivalry as well. So that's going to give us a bit more acclaim for the next, to renew our contract with, well, to go through into season 4 as well. So there are the final standings. It's been a good season for us. Lando Norris had that late charge, 4 Grand Prix victories for him. He, in the end, you know, when we thought it was going to be Leclerc and Verstappen, it was actually just Norris going to be our closest challengers, and where the likes of Leclerc, who won 2 races, Verstappen won 1, 2 for Sainz, and what a solitary victory for Mercedes. They'll be very disappointed this season. You know, Hamilton's way down the order, even behind Vettel as well, only just behind Ocon, you know, at the bottom end of the top 10 there. So yes, that is where I'm going to leave it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel to see plenty more F122 Drive for Career Mode videos. The pre-season episode of Season 4 will be out next Monday. So yes, until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.